Well, there's a lot of places. I'm going to give a quick background leading up into the last few days for those unfamiliar with the situation between Andy Warski and Ian Miles Cheong. And then we'll dive into the craziness that's happened over the last, I'd say, 3 days. So Andy and Ian had a YouTube page together, Hype Break, where they put up your basic formulaic video game content. If you've watched anybody else, it's essentially that. Your IGNs, your gamer ranks, all of that stuff. It's your typical, video that pops. It's got the graphics and the sound effects and, the top 10 list shit or the insights, or it's talking about the newest video game related shit. And it was doing, it started off slow, but it started to build some momentum. I think it's up to like 27 or 28,000 subs now, starting to get views on videos. And I know it's a project that Warski was interested in. I know he's into gaming. If you remember, he did Purple Dragon, where he wanted to do speedruns and Let's Plays and shit like that. So it made sense that he'd transition into something like this. Now, I can't tell you why Andy Warski would decide to work with Ian Miles Cheong, the man that flash banged the dog. I can't tell you why he'd do that, but he decided to. Well, trouble in paradise eventually emerges. Ian has a nasty habit of apparently pissing off people that he associates with or knows, and things went south fairly quickly. Now, Andy and Ian got into an argument about ownership of the channel. Who owns Hype Break? And they got into a very large argument about it because it turned out that Ian Miles Cheong was working with The Quartering on his new website endeavor, Based Gamer. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not Based Gamer, Exclusively Games. A $150,000 WordPress site that I'm sure will have the hottest fucking insights this side of Metacritic. Well, Quartering likes to take shots at Andy quite a bit. He's part of a group that doesn't like Andy very much. And Ian was being very chummy with them and working with them. And he felt betrayed. Didn't want to keep the partnership going on his YouTube channel. Decided he wanted a clean break. And that's where their arguments began about who owned Hype Break. Now, the first argument they had basically stopped after a day or two. Andy is a gullible retard and will forgive anybody that pisses in his face. Andy, if you're listening to this, you are far too trusting. You need to stop listening to these fucking people and stop doing partnerships with people. What are you doing? Everyone blows up in your face. So he forgives him. Ridiculous, but he forgives him. Oh, Ian and I will be best of friends. Best of friends going forward. Of course, that lasts a fucking week. Because we have the whole Donga situation in the meantime take place. Donga doesn't show up. Now failure suddenly appears. How convenient. I'm just going to say outright what I've messaged Andy, and I even said this to Ralph as well. I don't trust failure. I told them I don't trust failure. I think it's a gay op, and I think that they need to be careful. Because here's my reasoning on this, and you can tell me, Chad, if I'm being paranoid. I know this is an aside to the Ian and Andy story, but I'm just going to throw it out there because, again, I like to say publicly what I say privately. It doesn't matter to me. When Donga was having his implosion, and Ralph was doing his kill stream, and Coach was on there, and I was on there. I think Coach was on there. There were a bunch of people on there. And we were discussing, is Donga going to go away? And actually, Coach was on there. Ralph and Coach had a bet that Donga was going to delete his channel. And my response to that was, there's no way he's going to delete his channel. The only way that could happen is if Failure or Vamp turned on him. And what do you know? A day or so later, suddenly Failure turns on him. That's the first thing I found very suspect. Next, when Failure comes out, and he's got years of conversations with Donga, he's only got a week's worth to share? Only a week's worth from Discord? These are people that have played video games together. There's not a single Steam message, not a single message on any messenger service. Just a week's worth of Discord, none of which make Donga look bad. It's just him saying the same shit that he's always fucking said. There's nothing insightful. Just the same Donga shit. All that financial information that's out there talking about tax evasion comes from one source. Failure. You don't hear anybody else talking about grandma's name being on the AdSense or anything like that. Well, Andy decides to do another stream with Failure, and he's like, I want you to show me DMs. Can't show them. I want you to show me your conversation with Vamp. All of a sudden, Vamp mysteriously deletes her shit. Nothing was screen capped ahead of time. And I'm fairly certain people have brought up the point that Failure had mentioned she deleted her Twitter account before she actually deleted her Twitter account. so he couldn't show those DMs. I guess my point with this, and again, it's an aside, maybe I'm being paranoid. I just don't take people, I don't take people to be very honest on the internet. I think it's a gay up. Failure, you can prove me wrong when nothing happens in the next 2 months. But Andy is too trusting. Far too fucking trusting of people. It's happened repeatedly. He gets fucked over. So that's the aside, but it's to show that this happens occasionally. So Andy forgives Ian. They get back together. And then it happens again. They get into another fucking argument. This one as a result of failure. Because the small information he was able to show before Vamp deleted her Twitter basically corroborated the fact that Ian Miles Cheong, and this is according to Andy, was feeding Tonka and his group information that was private about Andy Warski to help them shit on him. So we have an initial argument between the two where Ian is basically cozying up to Quarter Pounder because of his new website and is part of a group that shits on Andy. Andy calms down and it's like, okay, maybe this isn't, what I think it is. And then weeks later, the same fucking situation. Only this time it's Vamp getting information from Ian, and it's being fed to Tonka and them, so they can shit on Andy. And that's where our story begins. I know it's a long fucking backstory, but that's where our story begins. So Andy has enough. He decides to put up a video. He's going to put a video up. He's going to expose the lies and the slander of Ian Miles Cheong. And he does. It's an 18-minute long video. You can find it on his main YouTube channel if you want to go watch it. We're not going to watch it because, maybe we can if the chat's interested later. But Andy Warski, YouTube channel, if you want to go watch it, go check it out. Now, this is where the crazy shit starts. So let me pull this up. I'm going to pull his timeline up, and we're just gonna read through. We're gonna read through because Andy has some remarkable shit happen to him. And some remarkable allegations when it comes to our boy, Ian, the Einster, whatever you want to call him. I've always been fucking his name up for about 8 years. Doesn't really matter to me. Okay, let's go, boys. Let's go. So here we are on Warski's timeline. I believe this is post video, or right around that. Oh, part 1 coming soon. You can see this is this is just yesterday. Shit. Still Gray says, I'm a cokehead. Oh, I love this. I love when every time Andy gets into a fight with somebody and drugs get mentioned, everybody becomes a drug user or a drug dealer. Andy, you need to hang out with some church-going people, all right? They need to be high on life. Same shit happened with Baked. You two, when you're around each other, do naughty things. I think Ian was a bad influence on you, Andy. I don't think you should be hanging out with a dude that eats a bottle of Xanax. Here we go. Andy Warski on the 26th. Laughed my ass off. Still Gray says I'm a cokehead. I told him a few times. Why don't we ask him about the giant bag of Xanax that he says makes him feel like Superman? I love how people use my blue moon partying to call me out like I am some sort of hardcore druggie. A fucking bag of Xanax. Why would this gentleman need a bag of Xanax? This is a pussy slayer. Look at this. Look at this beast of a man. Why would he need a bag of Xanax to feel like fucking Superman? This is the Chungus. Unga Bunga Chung. He doesn't need Xanax. He's high on life, Andy. Look at that. Look at that shit. Yes, Chad, I know. Voice is cracked. It's like I'm going through puberty again. Oh, I'm a little under the weather. You're gonna have to deal with it. Okay. Oh, my boys. All right, let's see. Where are we here? Oh, this starts a back and forth. So, Ian and Andy start to argue on Twitter, of course. Now, this would have been, I think this would have been a normal interaction. You know, Andy's pissed. It's understandable he's pissed. They're fighting over a channel. They're fighting over the agreement of who owns the channel and what contracts are signed. It's a back and forth between the two. Andy's going to put up an expose video showing who Still Gray is. But then some fuckery starts to happen. You can see here comes Andy's video. Well, you know, let's take a look. When did this get put up? Right? What's the exact time code on this? Early morning on Saturday at 9:50 a.m. he puts up his video on Ian. And we'll get to the stuff I'm skipping over here, but I want to get to this. All right. So after that video goes up, within, what is that, 6 hours, I just got interrogated by 2 detectives who came into my house saying they got a call that I was going to shoot people. Funny how all the info they had on the caller matched what Stilgray has on me. Funny how he's done this before. Funny how he knows my series will ruin him. 6 hours after putting up a video which seeks to expose Ian Miles Cheong, Andy Warski basically gets the Canadian version of swatted, which means they show up at his house and tickle his balls and whisper diversity is our strength into his ear. Quite coincidental. Quite fucking coincidental. Now Andy, of course, isn't taking this lying down. We'll play this video. Let's hear our boy Andy and his reaction to Stilgray shenanigans.
Cheong, you say lay off the coke. Well, I'm not on coke because I just had 2 police officers, 2 detectives interrogate me and search my house. I allowed them to search my house, so they didn't find anything. The information from the caller was information that you have. On the day that I destroy you with part 1 of the video series that will ruin you because I have a lot of dirt on you. And it's funny how you try to getting me pretty much arrested or worse. And you've done this before to Wild Goose, who you got his dog killed with a flashbang. Luckily in Canada, they don't SWAT. They investigate. So thank you for trying to ruin my life. And it's pretty obvious it's you. You've done this many times to people. You've told me that you're fine with people being swatted or doxxed if you don't like them. And you saying lay off the coke, it's pretty funny when cops are scouring your house and you let them do it. You've opened the door to something you probably didn't want to open. Good luck, Ian. Good luck.
Opened. Oh, there we go. Yeah. I see a lot of F's in the chat. We should probably talk about Wild Goose before we proceed with this story. It's heartbreaking when a pupper gets flashbanged, especially when that flashbang grenade lands right next to his head and explodes it like a watermelon. It's a fucking tragedy, but it's something that did occur, and it's heartbreaking. And I think I need to let Wild Goose tell you himself about the poor tragedy of his pupper getting its fucking head exploded because Ian Miles Cheong got upset with him. Should I, chat? Yeah, let's take a look.
Hey guys, this is Wild Goose. I just wanted to give you a quick update on the flashbang dog situation. It has been a few months since that happened, and I'm sort of over the hill emotionally from that, and I'm ready to purchase a new dog. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with the story, there is this treacherous journalist who called the cops on my place, got the dog flashbanged. The dog was mortally wounded. But like I said, I'm in a place where I'm ready to purchase a new dog. Now, this was a show quality dog. This wasn't just some dog that we picked up at PetSmart. So it's going to end up setting me back about $3,000. Am I asking for $3,000? No, but any bit you could donate would be very helpful. And if you would like to donate, please send some money, send some cash over to streamlabs.com/wildgoose1. I'll put the link in the description. Now, some people have been asking, is there any footage of this? And to that I said yes, and I just wasn't prepared to release it before, but I'll go ahead and release the video now. For those of you who are sensitive towards violence and harm to animals and that sort of thing, this might be disturbing to you, so I would maybe either look away or turn it off. But again, donate to streamlabs.com/wildgoose1. Link is in the description. Need about $3,000, so go ahead and shoot me your cash. Thank you very much. and here's the video.
Graphic content ahead. Graphic content ahead. Pray for Pupper.
Stand up now, so we know you're there. We don't want you to get hurt, but you gotta stand up now and show us your hand.
Absolutely disgusting, Ian, that you could do something like that. Now, there is, you may be asking about the backstory of this. On a Ralph Retort stream, Ian Miles Cheong admitted that he got information fed to him by a Twitter user who was prevalent in Gamergate by the name of Mombot, who gave his docs to him and said, do something with it. Ian received this information, passed it along, and what do you know? Somebody gets swatted and a dog gets flashbanged to death. And, you know, it was a show-quality dog, okay? $3,000, it's a lot of money. I think Ian needs to pay that money. You need to hashtag pay for the pupper, Ian. Where's the $3,000? You killed this man's dog. Pay for the pupper. Hashtag it. Make this motherfucker pay for the pupper. Because no justice, no peace. All right? No justice, no peace. That pupper got flashed. His head exploded like a fucking watermelon, Ian. Terrible. Fucking shameful. Now, if you want to listen to the footage of Ian admitting this, I'm sure the Ralph Retort will go over it on his stream on Monday. There's quite a bit of footage. In fact, he went on multiple streams talking about flashbanging the dog and apologizing for it. That's the thing. He apologized for it. Acknowledged it happened and apologized for it. Pay for the pupper. Pay for that pupper, motherfucker. $3,000. Get to a Malaysian bank, change it into real money, and you pay Wild Goose for his fucking dog. Sorry. I get a little heated when people flashbang fucking animals. Now, this argument between Ian and Andy continued onward. Of course, you can imagine getting fucking swatted, even if it's the Canadian version of it, could be a bit upsetting. And I started paying attention. I put my video up. I missed all of this happening in real time. Watched Andy's video. Apparently, I'm not Mr. Popularity when it comes to Chungus. He does not like me very much. Who could have figured? I don't know why I'm such a good boy. Well, I have some ideas on why that might be, but let's take a look at what Andy had to say in relation to Ian's feelings on me.
He hates Mr. Metokur. Like Ian Miles Cheong, I've never heard someone talk about Mr. Metokur so much and how much he hates him.
I am deeply hated by our little boy, Ian Miles Cheong. It's fucking hurtful. I mean, so I try to live with it. I try to live with the shame of it. So, Andy gets swatted. Well, the Canadian equivalent of getting swatted. Right after Andy releases his video. Then Andy starts putting up even more information about the things that Ian is doing. He's tweeting directly at GamerRanks, the former publication outlet that Ian worked at. So, GamerRanks, Ian Miles Cheong is still a manager of your channel. They're just talking about their YouTube channel. He revealed you guys making $65,000 a month and showed a bunch of us your private analytics. Everyone retweet to let them know they still have a rat on their channel. 65, okay, they're making about 30 million. This is a great way of getting an insight into how much people are getting paid on YouTube, by the way. GamerRanks monthly brings in about 30 million views. So they're pulling in about $2,500 to $2,500 per million views on their channel. But for some reason, Ian still has access to it and is showing private financial and analytic information to whoever the fuck feels like seeing it. I don't know. I'd find that kind of fucking scummy. And this is another update that Andy just put up. Ian Miles Cheong changed a few thumbnails of mine to gay porn so I could get banned. Thank you all for the warnings. My agent stayed up for a while I was sleeping fighting gay porn thumbnails. Ian was still a manager on the channel. My agent saw the changes came from Malaysia. It's alleged that Stilgray, Ian Miles Cheong, is from Malaysia. And this is the managing permissions information on the channel. And you can see the 3 people we have there. Geek Thulu, Zenter screened. I'm not sure who that is. Maybe that's his agent or MCN. And Stilgray. Now you could say, oh, well, I bet it's maybe Zenter Screen did it. Or it was Geek Thulu in his nefarious plotting. But if it's coming from Malaysia, I think there's probably only one possibility on who's doing it. So, to kind of sum this up, in the span of 24 hours after releasing a video calling out Ian Miles Cheong, Andy was swatted, and then had somebody go into his YouTube account and try to change out thumbnails to get him banned off the platform. Andy has stated that Ian Miles Cheong had told him in conversations that he was fine with people getting doxxed and swatted. And we have a story relating to that of Ian basically helping to facilitate a dox. Now, in fairness to him, during that stream, because people made it seem like he had decided to do this, the information was sent to him without him asking. However, it was sent to him because at the time, Ralph, if you fucking hear this, you need to play this for people. The reason Wild Goose and Ian Miles Cheong have issues with each other is because Ian Miles Cheong was convinced that Wild Goose had hired Bitcoin assassins to kill him. He was convinced Wild Goose had hired hitmen from the dark web to hunt him down for that sweet, sweet cryptocurrency and shoot him in the head. So Mombot apparently saw this and sent a ton of docs, which I saw. We saw this privately on the stream that had happened. We saw the DMs, and it was a thorough doxing. I usually don't use the term doxing to apply to much, but this was thorough. Places of work, places of residence, educational history, where they attended school, all their associates, their family, their neighbors. It was a thorough fucking dox. And he helped play a role in that. Of which, again, there's audio of him admitting and apologizing to it. Oh, I lost my chat for a second. Uh-oh. Where did we go here? There we are. Yes, Bitcoin assassins, chat. Terrible, terrible Bitcoin assassins. And that kind of brings you up to speed of where we're sitting right now. Now, I know I've been a lazy Irish son of a bitch. If I put that whiskey bottle down and had a little more prep work, I'd have more clips to play for you and a better timeline to kind of organize it. But I wanted to give you a basic idea of what's going on with them and where it sits right now. To sum it up, for people that want a quick audio clip, Ian Miles Cheong and Andy Warski had a working business partnership on the channel Hype Break. Their relationship soured when Ian Miles Cheong was providing information to people that were attacking and trying to ruin the career of Andy Warski. He was doing this secretly, and he was doing it behind his back. Andy Warski finally had enough of this, wanted to end the partnership, decided to walk away from the channel and break ties with Ian Miles Cheong. Andy Warski decided to make a video exposing this and talking about his issues with this particular journalist, after which, within the span of 6 hours of the video going up, Andy Warski got swatted, and within 10 hours of that, his channel had been accessed by somebody who still had manager access, and his thumbnails were changed to gay porn to get him strikes on YouTube, to get him pulled down off the platform. That is the quickest summation that I can give you of this. Now, there are layers upon layers of shit that's going on in the background. We've got Quarter Pounder throwing his 2 cents in. Ian Miles Cheong is associated, or was associated with, Exclusively Gamers. Now, Jeremy didn't want to just outright say we fired him, but he got fired, or at least that's what Jeremy is telling people. Now, why that is, I couldn't tell you. The Wild Goose story and the information about that came out months ago, and yet Ian continued to work at Exclusively Games. Maybe this is a bridge too far for Jeremy, I don't know. But now we're getting into the doxing and swatting portion of the story, and so it looks like Ian is out of job in relation to that. Ian, I guess, is still in charge or has full control now of Hype Break, the YouTube channel. So that disagreement is over with. And Andy really doesn't have much to lose. I mean, really, Andy, at this point, you've been doxed and swatted, and your personal shit's out there, and it seems like this guy's trying to fuck with you. I would do, if I were you, more videos about it. Continue your series. Get a police report. See if you can get the police to give you access to the phone call That's going to be real stunning and brave. I mean, if we hear Ian Miles Cheong voice calling in this fucking swatting attempt, that's game over. That's the end of it. But try to provide information if you can in your upcoming videos. The gay ops are eternal. They just don't end. One saga ends and a new one begins. Donga exploded, and now we have a new cycle starting, and this time it seems like it's going to be the former journalist, Ian Miles Cheong. And, I know people aren't 100% familiar with Stilgray. He flip-flops. He's kind of like Davina, David Shitrat in a way. He will latch on to whatever movement or community exists on the internet, which will provide him with attention or views or what have you. He went from being I'm not kidding you, he described himself as a turbo feminist, SJW, to becoming a not SJW and then a anti-SJW. And that metamorphosis happened fairly quickly. And before he was a turbo feminist, he was on old forums and message boards talking about how he was, as he referred to it, a banana, yellow on the outside, white on the inside. Also was a big fan of Hitler. And no, I'm not joking with you. He went from a Hitler-loving Asian supremacist to a turbo-feminist SJW to an anti-SJW in like the blink of an eye. And, hearing that sounds so fucking ridiculous, you'd ask yourself, Andy, why were you working with him in the first place? What are you doing? You need to use more common sense. Oh, I swear. Andy, here's my advice to you. Just own everything outright that you do. Don't enter into partnerships with people. Just own it and profit from it for the work that you put into it. And if for some reason you ever find yourself in the future, collaborating with somebody, have a contract drawn up by a third party so there's no confusion as to what's going on. Stilgray fucked you. He used your base and your promotions when you were doing live streams to generate traffic to kickstart Hypebreak, and now Hypebreak is entirely his. And he potentially, allegedly, from what you've told me, swatted you and put up gay porn on your YouTube channel. I don't know where this saga's I don't know where it's gonna go, but it'll be fun to watch. Now, I know I've been a bit dickish to Ian, but he hates me already, so I don't give a fuck. I still remember what you did to KSI, buddy. Oh. That should bring you up to speed. So when Ralph does his stream, I'm sure he will have more information for you. More of the deep lore, the deep dive.